Thank you for inviting me to speak to you here. I come here to talk to you about my sister.
All right now.
My sister Connie.
Woo!
That's what I come to talk to you about today. But I come to talk to you about what God does for us.
Yes.
And it's taken me my entire life to realize that. So I'm going to tell you a couple stories, just a few minutes. One or two Connie don't even know.
Uh-oh.
So when I was 5, I died. They brought me back to life, and our mother said she went home, and she went into her little prayer closet, and she prayed. And she made a deal with Jesus. She told me, she said, if you let him live, because the doctor told her I was going to die, and if I didn't die, I'd never walk again. She said, if you let him live, I'll turn him over to the church. And so I lived, and she turned me over to the church. But there was a problem. I had amnesia. I didn't know anybody. They brought me home, and all these people, and there were 11 of us, came running at me. I didn't know these people. I was in the hospital 7, 8 months. I just knew the nurses. I didn't know these people. And then the door opened, and this lady walked in. And I said, oh, I know her. I feel better now. That was Connie. I didn't know any of my other siblings, but for some reason, I knew her. Now, I didn't understand that at the time because I was 5 years old. So some years later, I'm about 11. I'm hanging out with Connie. We're at a store. Police officer come up to me. He said, I got you now. He put some handcuffs on me. He said, you going to jail. I'm crying. I was a stubby little thing, about this big, this round. He said, you going to jail now. And then Connie turned the corner. I promise you, I've never seen grown men cry so much in my life. Police officers ran. Car doors slammed.
Wow.
And they let me go.
Wow.
Handcuffs came off of me. Grown men walked away. By the time Connie got finished, I wanted to say to them, take me with you. Connie said, I just got this boy out of church. He ain't never done nothing to nobody. You ain't taking him nowhere. I thought, okay. A few months after that, I was laying on my couch at home. See, one of the things you don't know about me is I have dyslexia. I can't read, write, or spell. But by the grace of Jesus, I got my doctorate.
All right.
So I can't read, write, or spell. So I had to take some painkillers. My painkiller said take 2 every 4 hours. I got dyslexia. So I took 4 every 2 hours. So I was about to take the other dose. Guess who walks in the door? Connie. I'm laying on the couch. I was gone, getting ready to open the bottle. She said, what's wrong with that boy? She looked at the bottle and said, you about to die. And she took the bottle away from me. God doesn't send us alone. About 7 years ago, I was giving a talk on prayer. Talking about Jesus. And my talk was about prayer as a two-way street. That we don't just pray to God, God talks to us, and we have to sit there and listen. So I'm about to give this talk to a church right down the street. I had to give this talk, and a girl walked in. One who shouldn't have been at my talk. A girl who had caused me trouble in the past. A girl who was not good for me to be there. This girl walked in, and this talk was not going to be good. That this girl walked in. Right behind this girl, guess who walked in to talk? I didn't invite her to the talk. I didn't know she was coming to the talk. Connie walked in to talk. we are not sent alone. I didn't think twice about that girl because Connie was there once again. So COVID happened. I'm a hospital chaplain. I'd never seen more black people die in my life.
Come on, say that.
I'd never seen more black people die. And I work in a community that's mostly white. They was busting in the black people to die. Literally busting them in. Bringing them from everywhere and anywhere. I'm sitting at my desk and I'm saying to Jesus, what you doing? I'm praying for all these people. Who praying for me? I promise you, 5 minutes later, guess who called me? Connie called me. 5 minutes later, Connie called me. 6 months after that, my hospital killed a guy. Killed a guy. And I finally realized what that feeling was when I was 5. That feeling was safety. Connie has always made me feel safe. In my darkest moments, when things were the hardest, when life was the roughest, when I couldn't read or write, when I couldn't walk or talk, when I had no place else to go, Jesus never leaves us alone. When he sent out the disciples, he sent them out 2 by 2. I have never been alone. He always sent me Connie from the day I was born. Even though it looked like, it seemed like I was alone. So I sat at my desk. I said, who prays for me? Connie called. When we pray to God, God sends us each other.
Yes, yes.
And then he reminded me, you have never been alone. Not since the day you were born, your sister Connie has always been there. So I pray that you have somebody in your life who makes you feel safe. And that's what Jesus can do for us. He brings us people to make us feel safe. I thank Jesus that he gave me Connie, because she has always been my safety, my security, my example of who Jesus is for me. That's my prayer for you. Thank you, Connie.